You have 47 items on your to-do list. You completed 6 today and added 9 more. Tomorrow you'll wake up and do it again, check a few boxes, add more tasks, go to bed feeling behind. This isn't a productivity problem. This is a design problem. To-do lists are anxiety generators wrapped in the illusion of organization. You think you're managing your work, but you're actually managing your panic. And there's an entire industry that profits from keeping you in this cycle. Today you learn the difference between a slave system and a master system. There's a billion-dollar ecosystem built on this lie. Todoist, any.do, Notion templates, premium features, task hierarchies, color-coded priorities, recurring reminders. They all need you to believe the problem is the tool, but the problem is the philosophy. Here's how the trap works. You feel overwhelmed, so you search for a productivity system. You find an app that promises organization. You migrate all your chaos into their interface. And now your chaos has tags and due dates. You feel better for about 3 days. Then the list grows. The app makes it frictionless to add tasks. Someone emails you, add it. You think of something, add it. You see a newsletter, add it. The app celebrates this with notifications like, wow, you're capturing everything. But you're not capturing, you're drowning in documentation. And here's the evil part. These companies make more money when you're overwhelmed. The free version handles 20 tasks, but you have 60, so you upgrade to the premium tier. Unlimited tasks, unlimited projects, unlimited anxiety. They profit from your belief that more task management equals better productivity. But task management is not the game. The game is outcome architecture. And the to-do list keeps you playing the wrong game by design. Because if you figured out the real game, you wouldn't need their app. You'd need a system that eliminates 90% of what's on that list. There are people who build in 90 days what takes others 3 years. They don't use to-do lists, they use architecture. I've run multiple businesses and shipped products while learning skills that supposedly take years in months. Not because I'm better at managing tasks, but because I deleted the task management paradigm entirely. The method I'm about to show you separates people who check boxes from people who move the needle. Let's build it. Here's what happens when you use a to-do list. You wake up and open the app. 47 items are waiting. Your brain does a quick scan and everything looks urgent. Everything looks important. So you do what everyone does. You start with the easy stuff. Reply to that email, schedule that dentist appointment, order those supplies. Check, check, check. The dopamine hits feel like productivity, like progress. Except none of that was strategic, none of that moved your life forward. You just responded to the world's demands. Now someone emails you and you add it to the list. Your boss pings you, add it. You remember something, add it. The list just grew by 4 while you completed 3. You are not leading your day, you are following orders. This is the first problem with to-do lists. They're reactive by design. They train you to be a task taker, not a decision maker. You write down everything that comes at you, and other people's priorities become yours. Your boss needs a report, it goes on the list. A client wants a call, it goes on the list. The algorithm suggests a course, it goes on the list. You've outsourced your attention to whoever emails you loudest. And it gets worse. Everything on that list looks equal. Buy milk sits next to build business, and your brain doesn't differentiate because the list doesn't tell you what matters, it just tells you what exists. So you tackle the easy wins, the quick completions, the dopamine hits. Checking a box feels like progress. Meanwhile, the work that actually matters sits untouched. Writing that proposal, building that product, making that hard decision. These tasks are scary and uncertain and don't give you instant gratification. So you do 12 small tasks instead of one big one, and you go to bed having completed nothing that moves the needle. This is the second problem. To-do lists have no prioritization. They reward completion, not outcome. They train you to optimize for check marks instead of results. Now layer on the fact that your brain has peak hours and dead hours. You're sharpest between 9 and 11 in the morning, when you can do deep thinking, complex problem solving, creative work. But to-do list doesn't know that, doesn't care. It just sits there with 47 items staring at you. So you burn your best hours on email, on admin, on reactive tasks. And when you finally get to the hard work, the strategic work, the work that actually matters, it's 4 in the afternoon and you're running on fumes. Your peak cognitive hours were spent checking boxes, and now you're trying to build something important with the scraps of your attention. This is the third problem. To-do lists are time blind. They ignore energy, they ignore biology, they treat all hours as equal when your brain operates in cycles. And here's the final nail. The list never shrinks. You complete 10 tasks today, but you added 12. Net result? You're further behind than when you started. This compounds every single day. You add more than you complete, and the list grows from 47 to 63 to 89. You are on a treadmill of busyness that never stops. The worst part is you blame yourself. You think you're not productive enough, not disciplined enough, not organized enough. So you buy another productivity course, download another app, try another system. But the system is the problem. This is what I call a slave system. It makes you a servant to tasks. You wake up and serve the list. You go to bed having served the list. Your entire day is shaped by what's written down. You are not in control. The list is. Now let me show you the alternative. The master system doesn't start with tasks. It starts with outcomes. Not what's urgent, not what's easy, what actually moves your life forward. For most people, there are 3 to 5 outcomes that would change everything if they happened. Launch the business, ship the product, get the promotion, build the skill, write the book. Everything else is noise. The master system forces you to name these outcomes with brutal specificity. Not grow business, that's vague. Acquire 10 new clients through one specific channel. Now you have clarity. Next, you reverse engineer. Break down what has to happen for that outcome to exist, not into 100 tasks, into the minimum viable steps. Most people discover something shocking here. None of what's on their to-do list has nothing to do with their actual outcomes. It's just noise, busy work, anxiety dressed up as productivity. Delete it. Not I'll do it later. Not maybe if I have time. Delete it. If it doesn't directly connect to an outcome that matters, it doesn't exist. This is the shift. You move from task taker to architect. You're not asking, what do I need to do? You're asking, what actually matters? And here's where it gets tactical. The tasks that survive this filter get organized into a priority stack, not a flat list, but a hierarchy. At the top sits the critical work limited space, only 1 to 3 tasks that absolutely must happen this week. Hard deadlines, non-negotiable. This is tier 1. Below that, the important work. Should happen, would move things forward, but flexible. No hard deadline this week. 3 to 5 tasks maximum. Tier 2. Below that, the nice to haves. If you finish everything above and still have time, these exist. But you probably won't get to them, and that's fine. Tier 3. Now let me show you the alternative. The master system doesn't start with tasks, it starts with outcomes. Not what's urgent, not what's easy, what actually moves your life forward. For most people, there are 3 to 5 outcomes that would change everything if they happened. Launch the business, ship the product, get the promotion, build the skill, write the book. Everything else is noise. The master system forces you to name these outcomes with brutal specificity. Not grow business, that's vague. Acquire 10 new clients through one specific channel. Now you have clarity. Next, you reverse engineer. Break down what has to happen for that outcome to exist, not into 100 tasks, into the minimum viable steps. Most people discover something shocking here. None of what's on their to-do list has nothing to do with their actual outcomes. It's just noise, busy work, anxiety dressed up as productivity. Delete it. Not I'll do it later. Not maybe if I have time. Delete it. If it doesn't directly connect to an outcome that matters, it doesn't exist. This is the shift. You move from task taker to architect. You're not asking, what do I need to do? You're asking, what actually matters? And here's where it gets tactical. The tasks that survive this filter get organized into a priority stack, not a flat list, but a hierarchy. At the top sits the critical work limited space, only 1 to 3 tasks that absolutely must happen this week. Hard deadlines, non-negotiable. This is tier 1. Below that, the important work. Should happen, would move things forward, but flexible. No hard deadline this week. 3 to 5 tasks maximum. Tier 2. Below that, the nice to haves. If you finish everything above and still have time, these exist. But you probably won't get to them, and that's fine. Tier 3. And at the bottom, the kill list. Tasks that used to be on your to-do list but don't connect to outcomes. You're not doing these, not this week, probably not ever. Tier 4. This creates something a to-do list never gives you: visual scarcity. You can't fit 47 tasks in Tier 1 because there's only room for 3. So you have to choose. And choosing is the entire game. Most people never choose, they just accumulate. The master system forces the choice. Now, you know what matters, but that's not enough. Because if you try to do hard thinking at 4 in the afternoon when your brain is fried, you'll fail. Doesn't matter how important the task is, your biology won't cooperate. So the next layer is energy mapping. Track your patterns for 1 week to discover when you're sharp and when you're slow, when you can do deep work and when you're only good for shallow tasks. For most people, there's a golden window, usually in the morning 2 to 3 hours, where your brain is actually capable of complex thought. This is sacred time. Do not waste it on email, meetings, or admin. This time is for Tier 1 work only. The hard stuff, the strategic stuff, the work that requires your full cognitive capacity. Everything else gets scheduled for low-energy windows. Emails at 4, admin at 2, calls at 3. You match the work to the energy. This is not optional. Your brain is not a machine, it has peaks and valleys. If you ignore this, you're fighting biology, and biology always wins. Now here's the piece most people miss. You don't have 40 hours of productive time per week. You have 12, maybe 15 if you're optimized. The rest is meetings, interruptions, context switching, low energy hours, life. The master system plans for this. It assumes 70% capacity, not because you're lazy, but because reality exists. You take your 12 productive hours and allocate them to Tier 1 and Tier 2 work, energy matched and outcome focused. And you delete everything. This is the gap. The entrepreneur with the 47-item to-do list spent all week checking boxes, busy every day, completed 30 tasks, built nothing. The architect with the priority stack had 3 critical tasks, focused all 12 productive hours on those 3 things, ignored everything else, shipped a product. Same week, same hours, different system. One was managing tasks, one was architecting outcomes. The math is simple. 100 tasks at 1% effort, each equals 0 progress. 3 tasks at 100% effort, each equals real results. People always push back here. They say they need to track tasks or they'll forget things. Fine, track them, but not in a daily list that creates anxiety. In a weekly architecture that creates clarity. You review once per week, look at your outcomes, identify the critical few, delete the rest, map energy, and execute. No daily panic, no constant adding, no treadmill. They ask about small stuff like emails and admin and errands. Batch it. One-time block in a low-energy window, 90 minutes. Handle all the small stuff at once. Don't let it infiltrate your entire day. They worry about urgent things that come up. Then you make a conscious choice about whether this replaces something in Tier 1. If not, it waits. Urgency is not the same as importance. The world will always create urgency, but your job is to protect importance. This is the master system. Weekly architecture, outcome-focused, energy-matched, ruthlessly prioritized. It doesn't feel productive the way checking boxes feels productive because you're doing less. But you're building more. Here's what's happening while you're managing tasks. Someone else is architecting weeks. They're not checking boxes, they're moving chess pieces. They identified their one outcome, killed 80% of their list, matched their hardest work to their peak hours, and protected their attention. And they finished. You both had the same week, same hours, same amount of time. They moved forward while you stayed busy. This gap compounds. In 12 weeks, you've checked 1,000 boxes and built nothing. They've checked 50 boxes and shipped a product. In 6 months, you're still maintaining while they're scaling. In a year, you're wondering why you're not progressing while they're 10 steps ahead. Not because they worked more hours, but because they played a different game. You were playing task management while they were playing outcome architecture. The system you use determines the results you get, and the to-do list is designed to keep you busy, not effective.